perception to solve the narrowly defined task. This is what we currently know about artificial narrow intelligence, not really artificial general intelligence or super intelligence, but befitting the cognitive label, this task could once be performed only by human brains, and few today will debate these high-level definitions. Although there is certainly debate about how close AI comes to duplicating brain structures and functions. So in this case, again, I freeze. So can you see the slide?
Not yet.
Okay. Let me check one more time. Okay. Let me check. I think my network is not really good. So coming to my next slide. Are we ready to adopt, adapt, and implement AI in the new capital city of Indonesia, Nusantara? You can see this, Pak Baskara? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm freezing the... Okay, maybe I should send this to the host, or should I just continue from here?
Maybe not in the slide view, but just
okay,
just in the outline view, maybe.
All right, maybe this will make it work. Okay. Okay. Bismillah. This one, you can see?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let me continue. Again, I'm saying, are we ready to adopt, adapt, and implement AI in the new capital city of Indonesia, Nusantara, as we know it, right? So then the question is that, do we have the strategy to really implement this for the new capital city? Yes, we do. We have really released the Indonesian National AI Strategy, which I put forward in the global AI race on national AI strategy. Fortunately, we were able to work during the pandemic in 2020, where we have collaborated the Quad Helix ecosystem, government, industry, community, and academia to work on the Indonesian National AI Strategy, where the use of artificial intelligence technology aims to increase the productivity in business, to increase the productivity for the investment, and the productivity of human resources utilizations, and to encourage innovations in various sectors. We were able to come up with this national AI strategy through the orchestration of Quad Helix, as I said earlier, where many of the institutions, government institutions, from universities, from the communities, and from the industry, including startups, has been seen in this slide with their logos, to come up with the national AI strategy, which focuses on 4 areas: ethics and policies, infrastructures and data, talent development, industrial research and innovations. And we also have determined the 5 priorities areas, 5 priority sectors, including bureaucratic reforms, health services, education and research, food security, mobility, and certainly smart cities, right? And as we grow up this huge architecture of implementing artificial intelligence toward the visions of Indonesia 2045, we want to be able to come up with all these pillars and foundations, such as the ethics and policies, the data sharing and machine learning algorithms, as well as the infrastructures for including the talent development programs, which is now being carried quite heavily by Ministry of ICT and the Ministry of Educations and Research and Technologies, where we certainly will choose these 5 priority areas as part of building up our competencies in implementing AI technologies. Now, so these 5 priorities areas: health services, bureaucratic reform, education and research, food security, will be part of what we call Ibu Kota Negara, or the new capital city, Nusantara. Such as in mobility and smart cities, the number of people living in Indonesia, the urban area is now close to 60% and is expected to rise to 70% of the total population by the year 2050. So the government currently plans to develop 98 smart cities and 416 smart districts under the framework of Indonesia 100 Smart Cities Plan. And certainly the new capital city will be one of the super smart cities, I believe so, because we will look into this very closely, just to put forward some of the key areas and use cases in our new capital city. So I want to talk a little bit on KORICA, the Collaborative Research and Industrial Innovation, which will come up with much of the use cases that are needed for the new capital city, Nusantara. Here, the ecosystem of KORICA attracts talent and public community to be involved in developing the value to the new capital city, and also for the government institution, industry, and academia. We believe that it will bring value to the institutions, to the new institution which will be residing at the new capital city, Nusantara. And out of this context, we certainly say how AI will be implemented in Ibu Kota Negara Baru. As you know, and I think everyone's are quite familiar with all the technology. I think I'm breaking up again. Let me stop share and then try to refresh this. Okay. Running out of memories. Yeah, I think. Okay. All right. Here you go again. Okay. All right. So artificial intelligence is the technological leap of innovation toward the future of Indonesia new capital city. And out of this AI, where we can see AI being used in many various sectors related in the new capital city, whether it is natural language processing, computer vision, or just deep learning and machine learning, reinforcement learning. This is going to be part of the new capital city analytical solutions. Yeah. And
I think we have 1 more minute.
Okay. Just getting to the end, Pak Baskara. I show you some of the slide regarding the plan to build up our new capital city, which is based on forestry and maritime as a symbol of transformation and the progressing of us, Indonesia, as a nation. And out of this, certainly AI will be part of the smart city. It will be cloud-based services and Internet of Things, connected sensor, lights, and meters to collect and analyze data. At the other end, artificial intelligence will enable smart urban solutions, brings multiple benefits, including more efficient energy, water, waste, and management and reduce. This is certainly will answer the smart technology on the new capital city infrastructures. I'm sorry, this is in Indonesia, but certainly, if you can see here that AI will be part of smart parking, weather sensors, digital signage, acoustic sensors, whether it is water and gas metering, traffic lights controls, up to waste management. This will be certainly being put forward as a way of transforming our new capital city into really a new world city, okay, where we are post in 2045 onward. Here, we are going to be the kota dunia untuk semua, the world city for everyone. Yeah. So looking at this, we need to line up all the necessary and respective technology, not only AI, blockchains, cloud, data science, and engineering. All of this technology stack is necessary in order for us to achieve such as the requirement for the new capital city. I think with that, I will end because the time has run out. Thank you so much for your attention. Mohon maaf bila ada kekurangan. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you.
Thank you, Professor Hamam.
Yes.
You so question.
Am I losing the connection or are you guys still with me? I still can see the chat, but I lose Dr. Baskara.
Sorry, I was disconnected. So our next speaker is Professor Toshiobi.
Hello, this is Toshiobi from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm very happy to report my presentations. And we have to change to PowerPoint. Okay, I think you have not seen my slide.
Yes.
Okay. I think, okay, my title is the Digital Twin for Smart City and the Data Government. And I'd like to introduce my colleague who is working with me on the digital government, and this time is the digital twins. Dr. Naoko Iwasaki, who is a professor of the Waseda University. Professor Iwasaki, can you hear? Maybe he's not trying to show her face. Professor Iwasaki, please. Okay, maybe later. Yeah, since we have a very limited time and have to proceed as soon as possible, and I should manage my time for 20 minutes as possible. So our policy agenda on the digital twin, I have several agendas. One is I'm really working on the innovating the new fifth digital government with AI and sorry, too early. And also creating a digital government for all, and solving new technology gap on AI, IoT, big data, blockchains, and digital twins. And innovating ICT technology approach against COVID-19, research on digital government friendly for aging societies, which is very, very important in Japan now. And the continuity of capacity building program on CIO and data government. And the last one is a harmonizing data government with smart city, village, and the common platform of digital and social infrastructure. These are my main agendas in the research. And so what is DX? And if we're talking about digital transformations, of course, this forum is very keen to DX in the societies. And I put up the global design and the contribution of the data government to the DX technologies as the chart. And we have so many different sectors involved in DX in our societies, including digital twin. And why we need digital twins in our DX is the merit is reduction of risk, accurate value in real time, decrease of testing period, testing new systems, remote control for operations, and solution of social problems and improving efficiency. But there are mainly two demerits. One type of measurement in these models. Another one is the challenge of the cyber securities. And this is very crucial since we're using cyber space. And major usage of digital twins. So there are so many different sectors which we can utilize the digital twins. Smart city planning and heavy traffic control, government service, which I'm tackling with, and public infrastructure and 3D cities. And digital transformation, DX with digital twin for smart city digital government. You can see this chart very well. There are so many fields which digital twin can apply. And just everybody know about this image of digital twin. And also in Japan, we have kind of the modeling virtual space network with the 5G and IoT and big data with the BIM and CIM, and also makes the GIS, the cloud computing and visualizations. So since you have some knowledge about the AI, which my previous speakers had a very excellent explanations about it. And I'm challenging the digital twin and the digital government and smart cities with the United Nations in New York. And last year, we had a UN virtual side event. We call the lesson learned from the usage of data technology for healthy aging in COVID-19. So co-organized at Waseda University and Japanese government and United Nations, so on. And you can find the moderator myself, but you can find the name at the speaker list. Professor Suhonos, who is the director of Smart City and Community Innovation Center of the BI, ITB, from Indonesia, and we have the Singapore, China, US, and Thailand, and so on. And this is a picture of the conference in United Nations. And I'll show you 3 best case studies of the digital twin in Japan for your reference. There are 3 ABC. One is the project Plato. Second is the B, data platform for the implementation of the urban digital twin. And C is a digital twin in Tokyo government, metropolitan government. First one of the A, by April 2021, Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport and Tourism created the so-called open data set of the 3D city models from all over Japan. And we had the 34 case studies under our government. And by visualizing the current state of the city and making it easier to analyze city issues, they will promote town development based on integrated concept and plans. They have already released 3D city models that cover the entire Tokyo government in advance. Also, in the future, government will add 3D city models, which will lead to an overall optimal and agile town development with citizen participation. So Project Plato, we call, is a 3D urban space information platform that produces the urban space itself. By integrating various urban activity data into a 3D city models, it is possible to carry out sophistication of city planning and simulation of city activities. So next is a B, establishment of a data platform for the implementation of urban digital twins. This will introduce the utilization of AI for digital government and municipalities. The first collaboration between Shimizu Construction Company and the Autodesk of the US company is the construction of an urban digital twin targeting the area around the Toyosu district, Tokyo. By using the knowledge of construction companies working on BIM utilizations, smart buildings, and city with the advanced technology of constructions. ICT companies will be fully developed. They will develop the first urban digital twin data platform in Japan that utilize the Autodesk cloud services. Third one is the C, digital twin in the Tokyo metropolitan government. Tokyo, with the more than 10 million population, is one of the largest megacity in the world for a smart city. Is promoting the various business towards the realization of smart Tokyo, which draw out the potential of Tokyo with the power of digital technology and the digital twin. In Tokyo, we visualize 3D digital maps, which are the basis of digital twins, and conducted various simulations using the TM, Tokyo Metropolitan Government, is studying specific use cases and utilization method, aiming to solve complicated social issue and to realize digital twin usage. So these are three top case studies, and we have, of course, many other cases of the using Tokyo metropolitan government as the excellence samples. So this PowerPoint showing the how the Tokyo digital service is going on. And since we don't have enough time, you may read my PowerPoint later. So promoting the structural reform of Tokyo government, digital twin is very, very essential element for implementing the smart Tokyo. And other districts that I said, there's about 7. One is the Aizu Healthcare project. It's a local government driven, and it's also located in the Aizu, Wakamatsu cities, Fukushima prefectures. And main organizer is, very interestingly, is the American company, Accenture. And second one is Ubun Smart Cities. It's a connected cities and located in the Susono City, Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan. The main organizer is the Toyota companies. A smart city planned by Toyota in collaboration with NTT in this Shizuoka Prefecture. The use of digital twin is expected for the function of feeding back to the trial result. The third one is the bio digital twin and AI, which is located in Chiba City, Chiba Prefecture, next to Tokyo. Organizer is the NTT. Both Chiba City and NTT jointly operate Bio AI project, and you can find out the more details in the books later. So we have some others like Hiroshima and East Japan Railway and Gas Pass. So creating fifth generation digital government in post-COVID-19 age. That is my very leading project at the APEC. What kind of the new digital government? You can see AI, IoT, big data, blockchains, 5G mobile, and the digital twins, SDG of UN, and citizen-centric, data-driven emergency action for disaster. So these are harmonized into one new type of the digital government. And the last one is the recommendations. I guess I can say very quickly, advanced technologies such as AI and digital twin by the contribution to the new value of e-administrative services, CIO should create a strategic roadmap and promote development of senior digital staff who can utilize AI. Smart cities. And the global booming of upgrading smart cities. Just you can find out some facts at the G20 summit in Bali very soon, in November. And the digital twin has adopted the perspective of digitalizations. A major country are rapidly digitalizing the government service to meet the SDGs of the United Nations. The digital government, as I mentioned, and data twin in growing smart city will need proper standard and convergence urgently, not only in local, national, but also international platform. And to strengthen the capacity building program with digital innovation by the resources at universities in cooperation with business, government, academia linkage, to create new aid agendas on digital infrastructure of the public sector in order to increase citizens' well-being and quality life with digital. Last one is a comprehensive harmonization of digital twin model between central and local government, smart city for better productivities. These are my recommendations on the digital twin. And Indonesia is very, very excellent nations on the digital twin already, and maybe Japan and Indonesia, we can work together on this excellent digital twin project in the future. And thank you very much for your attentions.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Obi. That I can conclude that actually in Japan, many cities have implemented smart city without claiming to be smart cities, I think. And now Japan is going to the next level toward creating digital twins for digital twin project at some places or some cities in Japan, for example, in Chiba and so on, that has been presented by Professor Obi. If there are any question, we can deliver it after this session due to our time schedule. So now our third speaker is Dr. Venkatachalam Ambumozi from AREA, the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia. Please, Professor Ambu.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, and greetings from Rwanda, where I am based today. And my topic or the point of intervention today is about the imperatives for developing a resilient and sustainable cities, and the role of smartness, that is the application of ICT technologies, how it is helping, and at the same time, it is also having some of the challenges. I will point out it by concluding the challenges and how we can move forward. If you look into these cities, we are getting urbanized, and by the world, I think more than 50% of the populations will be living in the cities, and this is a kind of a common trend in all the continents. Particularly, Asia is growing much faster when compared to other 4 continents. And the population in the cities is expected to grow from 3.6 billion to 6.3 billion by this requires significant expansion of existing cities. And as well as the construction of the new cities. We know that is the this second and third tier cities are becoming much more mega cities. The growth rates also, and here this figure indicates that is what is the intensity or the weightage of the cities in terms of the resource use. And this time, if you zoom into ASEAN, and we had, I think, all the scenarios indicate that is 70 million people will be added to urban areas, that is the cities in this region, by not far away, but within the 3 to 5 years. And here you find, and except that is Singapore, and here there is a declining in the population of the rural areas, and but at the same time there is a substantial improvement, or the migration is happening up. The key challenge is also that is the cities are not considered to be simple living spaces, and these cities also kind of a center for the economic activities, and these cities need to grow fast, and they need to be an organics in their growth. And here we can see that is the mega regions and the large middle weights of the cities, um, regions, they contribute for nearly more than 60% of this GDP at the national level. And this is an important factor, and that is the how these cities innovate and the host new businesses is also an important, and what type of business they host will have some implications on the sustainability and the resilience of the cities. So, if you see that is the economic, and we know that economic weightage of the cities, but if you look into it, more and more cities has been um, consuming resources like energy, water, and materials that to satisfy the needs of the people, and as well as the industries. And resource use and carbon emissions is an increased concern. And second is this long-term historical sprawl of cities threaten the land use, and also putting the land and food supplies at the risk. There are several studies that indicate, and more importantly, and also this air quality of these cities has been changing. And here you can find this total carbon footprint and the population is directly correlated in the mega cities. So what could be the reasons? And here we need to think about the strategies that can the cities need to grow, and they need to grow in a smarter way that can reduce the pollutions and emissions. On the other hand, the cities and also is a kind of a places where the inequality exists. I think at a alarming rate, and if you see that is the Gini coefficient in the most of the cities are nearly zero point 0.5. That means that inequality exists, and the people's access to these services are very much limited. And so what are the challenges that we have? And if you see that is the global challenges, and we do have pollutions, and then the climate change issues, and the traffic congestion, and then affordable housing that is very much related to inequality and the rising cost of the services. And but in some cities, and there is the crimes and urban sprawls are happening up, and with the background that is 70% of the global GDP is generated by the cities. So then here we try to find, and the countries in this region has been trying to find the solutions, but so far in a limited success. So here we find an smart city concept of smart city is crucial in managing the way that is support and the drive the economic growth. That is where the comparative advantages are the strategic advantage of the smart city concepts are evolving. And so here we can see there is the priority areas, and the area we have a project, and at the area, and we have been studying the energy and the environmental use and the transport and mobility and the urban development and planning with this application of the ICT technologies. With the scenarios on the calculating the socio-economic benefits, particularly at the integrated and the social and economic development, and as well as the improvement of the services. But if you look into the trend we knowing that this is a smart city concepts are evolving and at a very different level and with very different scope. And but if you see that the trend from 2005 and 2017 where the data is available, and we can find except one country, and here we found most of these content countries in the Southeast Asia, and where there is the increasing the role of the e-governance, that is service deliveries in coming up, and how this e-governance architecture is evolving, and here we find a public-private partnerships, and if you look into that cities and have that city level actions are supported by the big corporations and particularly the IT companies, where these IT companies and the local governments come together and developing a architecture for the smart city. And for example, in the city of Clark City and in Philippines, where the spatial planning and IoT for the disaster resilience is provided by a IT company with the big data and the urban mobility data sets developed. The Singapore and again, this is a very good model for the public-private partnership where the national digital identity and the e-payment systems has been evolving, and in Thailand also this smart city movements are happening up. And so here the thing is application of these ICT technologies and the public-private partnerships are important, and this has been reflected, and we did a survey on how this ASEAN smart cities has been moving in and what are their objectives and outcomes, and we find there are 6 objectives that is coming from it, and that include the smart living and the smart economy, smart people and smart environment and smart mobility and smart governance. Given these objectives and the expected outcome, that is the increasing the living standards of the people, the main challenge here is how we define it and how we define the interventions for the smart cities. And here that is where the confusions and the standards are needed, and ASEAN is also working on, and here if you look into this definition of smart cities, we had a very wide varieties, and starting from the 2013 when this smart city term is coined, and we find it has been increasingly redefined and interpreted in a very different ways. And here also basically we need to understand and as defined by the Singapore the minister and Vivian about the smart city is not only about the technologies. It is really about how we apply these technologies to enhance the quality of the life of the citizens, to create a greater opportunities for everyone to prosper and thrive in the new world, where economic restructuring is occurring and the technology diffusion is occurring at an unprecedented pace. And the COVID is one of the period where this digitalization has been expanded in an alarming rate. But here is the point is that we don't see the technology and this is as a kind of a separate element. It is an integrated approach for improving the standard of the living people, particularly in the developing countries. In this way, and we find kind of basic elements of the smart cities, and one is that is instrumentations. how the collection of data, and the second is integration of the data, and where there is the data are integrated to bring the data across the cities, and third one is the intelligence to analyze the integrated data for insights and making the policy decisions. And here the objective, particularly for the ASEAN Smart City Network, is improve the efficiency and promote the innovation and bring that inclusion. And that means from the environmental, the sustainable resilience point of view, it is to do more with less through collaboration at a scale to ensure every benefits. This is the kind of framework that is we developed and we analyzed for the ASEAN smart cities. And here we find three type of technological interventions. One is that is the information technology and the communication technology, and third one is the data storage management. And these management systems and need to be built upon this existing infrastructure, and that is the for domains in this energy and the transport, water, and the waste management. And here India is developing, and based on this infrastructure, how far the countries are ranking, and how far what could be the key performance indicators for the smart cities. And this is the kind of a structure that is we use to measure this key performance indicators. And we also find during that process, we also find we do have challenges, and particularly the building the data structure, and as well as the owning that data structure. And this is the kind of framework that is we use to develop these key performance indicators that need a component. So there is the communication and the distributed generation, and the specifications include the environmental improvement, energy efficiency improvement, and the social welfare development. And we also calculated what could be the benefits for this application of the ICT technologies, and here we found for ASEAN 4 cities, and we find by application of these ICT technologies, and we can reduce the carbon emissions by 17%. That will result in this reduction in the energy consumption, and that is at the society level, and the time saved will be 28%. So it provides these opportunities, but we need to develop this key performance indicators, and this is the ongoing work that is we developed, and it is a kind of prototype, and this include these key performance indicators include the human capital. That is what the cities has, the kind of a DNA, that is where that is social capital exists. And then this we do have indicators. There are about 17 indicators, and that is focusing on the economy, governance, environment, mobility, and the urban planning, and the international outreach, smart technology, and the innovation, and the finance, the capacity, how far this innovation happening at the city level. And we applied this one and for the cities where the data is available, and we found very interesting results. And so far, for the first tier of a benchmarking process, we found some cities in the advanced economies are performing level. And here we developed a appraisal system for the ASEAN cities that can be used and then derive the data sets. So this is my last slide and summary of what we have been discussing. And one is the countries has recognized this importance of building the resilient and the sustainable societies, which is built up based upon the city-focused framework. And this, if you look into this region, and the ASEAN has all these framework conditions, the 2025 blueprint or the SDGs. But on the other hand, the defining characteristic of the smart city model is focusing on the technological solutions for a sustainable infrastructure. And here these ICT, big data, and the artificial intelligence are indispensable dimension of a smart city. And if you look into the ASEAN Smart City framework, it is basically aim for a quick result yielding technological solutions in the key domains of water, energy, transport, and waste management. But this redesigning of cities need to be built upon the parameters of integration and inclusion and innovation. I think that is the very prerequisite for smart cities. And also the smart city models need to capitalize on the both technological advancement, the digital technologies, and the development of knowledge of the key performance indicators. So without the performance indicators, we cannot measure where we are moving up. Thank you very much for this one. And if you have any questions, I can answer. Otherwise, we can visit our website to more about the projects we are having. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ambu. An interesting talk about the different point of view from the area about smart city, how smart cities should be developed in a sustainable way in the long term instead of because we have some challenge to develop. Okay, we have 3 prominent presenters, and now we start with the question and answer session. We have a few minutes left. The first question is for Professor Hammam. Professor Hammam stated that the new capital will utilize AI in its development and operation. The question is, what kind of AI do you plan to implement? And can you elaborate more about the implementation case in the new capital? If Professor Hammam is still in the session. Okay, maybe later will be answered by Professor Hammam. And there is one good question here about how do we analyze a case of climate change against the smart city? Maybe from Professor Toshiobi first about the climate change, the smart city.
I think smart city is the actually Dr. Ambu's territories. So
Okay.
I'm concerned with the digital government. Okay?
Yeah.
He might know everything about.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Robi. Professor Ambu, maybe.
Yeah, I think the climate change has 2 dimensions. One is the mitigation, that is the how we avoid these carbon emissions. Another is the resilience part, and that is how the cities are absorbing the shocks, particularly the climate risk. And I think here we found that there is evidences, that is emerging evidences show that is the smart cities application of this ICT technologies, and then Professor Robi mentioned about this digital twins, and it helps you what are the potentials for these emission reductions. And I had shown it, that is the by simply concentrating on the transport sector and how this congestion could be avoided, and putting the sensors in places, we can improve this planning session, that's transport planning. And another is also when this producers and consumers, there is a pro consumers, and it is called at the city level, and at the residence level, and renewable energy, particularly the solar, and it has been produced, and here by integrating, this is one of the examples that Seoul has been adopting, and we found where by networking, by integrating this supply and demand through the connectivity and with ICT, we found about 2 to 3% of this emission reductions that is improved. So there are growing evidences by this application of the technologies can reduce the emissions, that is contributing for the global level. And as I told, 60% of the emissions will be coming from the cities. And so how improve, there is a strong potential for it. And second is the resilience, we had but resilience means when the disaster occurs and the flooding and how countries are how the cities are coping with we found a example of this COVID and when this spread and basically the centers the cities are the epicenters of this pandemic and we found the cities that is already part of this smart city movement with having that kind of a dashboard architecture. We found, we did a kind of a study and we found the smart cities in India and we found the cities that had a kind of a smart city architecture has handled this pandemic very well and there is an evidences and also in Japan and this Toyohashi city and were already built a early warning system and integration of this disaster risk reduction and then early warning system by integrating this with these technologies. They are handling it very well. About this floods and also the earthquake information. So there are evidences to show that is the smart cities or the application of the ICT technologies can contribute for the resilience. But this capacity and capability of these cities varies very widely. Here we need to find and what type of technology models and also what type of data sets are very much needed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think those explanations from Dr. Ambu answer the question from Ashimonda from India, I guess, about how to stop the carbon emissions.
Yes, may I speak? I'm Obi from Tokyo, and yeah, Dr. Ambu really made a very good insight of the climate change issue in digital and the smart cities. And in Japan, the digital innovations and climate change or environmental situation, two of the top priorities for planning smart cities, including Tokyo and urban cities in Shizuoka and Chiba. So I think the point is very clear. Without the very good planning of the climate change issues, especially so-called the disaster prevention, since Japan has so many various disasters nowadays. So thank you for our questions, and just it reminds us of the importance of the climate change in smart city planning.
Okay, thank you for your insights, Professor Obi. Okay, because there are no other questions, so I would like to say thank you for all of our speakers today. And thank you, Professor Dr. Ambu Mozi, for your time. And also for Professor Toshio Obi, happy Obon Yasumi, I guess, this week. Also for Dr. Iwasaki. And to Professor Hamam Rizya, we would like to say thank you. And for other participants, if you still have questions, please send it to the committee and we will forward it to our speakers. Thank you. Good morning from Indonesia. Please enjoy this conference. And I would like to give it back to our MC.
Yes, thank you, sir. Before live, sorry, Professor Toshio Obi and Dr. Ambu Mozi, can we take for photo session first? Yes, please to all participants, turn on the camera. We will take the picture immediately. Okay, I will counting 3, 2, one, and please smile. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you from Indonesia for Professor Toshio Obi and Anbu Mozi and Dr. Anbu Mozi, and thank you for Mr. Dr. Baskara to moderate the session. And the next, for other participants, we will enter the presentation session at the parallel session today. Please, all presenter or participant can adjust the Zoom name based on the previous committee's direction. Once again, adjust the Zoom name based on the previous committee's direction. After the session, all participants can leave their respective Zoom rooms. About the electronic copyright form, you can check your email because the committee has sent it. But about other information, please wait for further direction from us, or you can ask us freely at the committee via group WhatsApp, especially about the publication process. Thank you and see you for the next time.
Okay, thank you all.
Please wait for the breakout room.
Recording stopped.
you.